Okay, my darling, we are going to talk about signs of poor boundaries. Do you have them? And what can you do to change this? My name is Arica Angelo, dating and relationship expert for 14 years. Listen, we need boundaries in every area of our lives. Say it with me. I need boundaries in every area of my life. That means in your personal relationships. That means with work colleagues. Definitely means with family members, because that's probably where you learn bad boundaries. And also, the most important place is with ourselves. Having boundaries with ourselves. So we're going to talk about how do you know what are the signs that your boundaries are really poor. Now, if you're specifically here for boundaries in relationships, make sure that you watch this video on one of these sides about the boundaries that you need to set in every relationship. So one of the signs that you have poor boundaries is you negotiate with yourself about what you really want. For example, let's start it off light and then we'll go into the more practical, like in relationships. For example, you go to your local coffee place and they say to you, "Hey, you're here for your oat milk latte. Sorry, we only have almond milk." And that day you really just were craving your oat milk latte. Now you know that if you walk right around the corner, that the place around the corner who does just as good of lattes, you know that they also have oat milk. But because you don't want to hurt their feelings and you don't want to make them feel bad, you go, okay, and you accept the almond latte that you really don't want. And instead of being true to you, you go and negotiate with yourself. You say, I mean, an almond latte isn't that bad, is it? Well, it is if you were really craving an oat milk latte and all you had to do was walk around the corner and get yourself one. So that's a more practical thing. And you're like, shoot, man, I do that all the time. Yeah, well, sometimes it's the small things that we do in our life that show up in the big areas of our life. So let's talk about family, and we'll get into relationships in the very end of this. So with our family members, right? Let's say they're having a big function that all the family is going to, and really you're tapped out. Like you can't do any more family functions. You're exhausted, you're wiped, you had a rough week, you've had a lot going on, and really all you want is some peace and quiet. You just want some time to yourself. But the family says, oh no, we've got this huge event and you must be there. Let me remind you that you are not 5 years old and you must not be there. Just because people want you to do things, just because they stress a high value as to why you should do those things. If you inherently do not want to do it because you know that your body needs to rest, you know that you need alone time, you know that you're highly amped because things at work have been stressful, and you know that your family is going to trigger you and they're going to put you in a spiral, you have full permission to say, no, that's not going to work for me. I hope that you guys have a great time. And you have permission to say that. But here's the thing, when you have poor boundaries, you're going to negotiate on that. You're going to tell yourself, well, you know, it is family and, you know, they don't ask that much of me. And so, yeah, I'll go for 30 minutes, an hour. And you know yourself, you're already compromising with yourself. So you know that that 1 hour is going to turn into 4 hours, and you're going to say goodbye to every aunt and uncle. You're going to kiss every baby that's there, and you're going to wear yourself out and deplete yourself. And the challenge is you're going to ask the world, why is the world so hard? And the world's going to say back to you, because you're making this extra difficult on yourself by not having good boundaries. So you got to quit negotiating with yourself. The second sign that you know that you have really poor boundaries is you prioritize everyone else's needs over yours. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you've had a tough day. Your boss just reamed you. You got in tons of trouble. You screwed up on a project and you are feeling really low and down about yourself. All you want to do is sit on a couch, put a blanket on you, and eat a tub of chocolate ice cream. That's all you want in life. But then your friend, who's been there for you, a good friend, says, hey, I've had a really rough day. This is going on in my relationship and I really need you. Can you be there for me? You know that you are running on empty. You know that you are in no position to be there for anybody else because you are not giving to yourself. You are not supporting yourself. So what do you say, my person with poor boundaries? You say this. Sure, of course. How many of us have been guilty of doing that? Because why? The line can be a bit blurry. You negotiate, you compromise, you go, but they've been such a good friend. Yeah, but you haven't given to yourself and you have nothing to give. You have an empty cup. So you can't pour anything out of an empty cup. So this is a sign that you have a poor boundary. Because if you had a really healthy boundary, you would say this. Hey, listen, I'm really sorry that you're going through a tough time right now, but I am at a place where I am sitting on empty. I had something really awful happen at work today, and I feel depleted. Can I get back with you tomorrow? You see, what you've done right there is you've honored your boundary, you've honored yourself, and you've created a win-win situation for the both of you. That would be a healthier boundary. And here's the last sign that I will give you, that you know that this is a sign, and this is many people, and I'm glad that you've stuck to the end. And I want to support you at the very end with something that I know will really help you in your relationships. Here is the other sign that you have really poor boundaries. Before I share that with you, make sure, if you have not gotten my free connection meditation, make sure that you get that, because typically people who have poor boundaries can be very disconnected from themselves. They don't even know when they're on empty because they don't know how to fill themselves back up. So if that's you, make sure you get that free connection meditation. You can click the link in the comment section below, or you can go to my website, aricaangelo.com with an A. Make sure you get that. So this is a telltale sign that you have really poor boundaries. You feel guilty for saying no. Say it with me. No, 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 no. You feel guilty saying no, as opposed to just seeing it as like, hey, they're a grown-ass adult. If I say no, I'm not going to destroy them as a person. If I say no, I'm not going to ruin their plans. They will find another solution. Because why? They're a grown-ass person. When we have a hard time saying no and we say yes to everyone else, the problem is the person that you are saying no to the most often is the person in the mirror. You're accustomed with telling yourself that you don't have value, that you don't matter, that your needs are not important, and that everyone else in the world is more important than you are. And you wonder why you struggle with self-value, self-worth, and you have a difficult time loving yourself. Because you keep telling yourself no while trying to make everybody else happy. Now listen, I know that this is some tough love that I'm giving you, but you need to hear this, because if you don't hear this and if you don't make changes, you'll ruin your life. You'll go through life miserable, making everybody else happy and not knowing why you can't be happy on the inside. So listen, I told you that I would support you in this with your relationships. So I want you to click the video at this end screen that I have here, and it's going to talk about why good boundaries free you in your relationships, because that's what we want to do. We want to free ourselves first, and we also want to feel free in our relationships. So make sure that you watch that video. I love you so much. Keep coming back for more if you need help with your boundaries.